If nobody's in the room, you can wait a little bit.
All right.
Just interact in there, since really they're the only people that we care a second.
Are like the super hardcores.
Hardcore actually up to the studio audience. Hello, everyone. Also, watch for the camera switching, because last time I ended up doing the camera. Oh, Jack left too. Last time I ended up doing the camera switches.
Everything is broken.
Everything's broken when you're on Google Hangouts.
Everything is awful.
I had a really good convo with Kaz about all the stuff that you guys are doing and he's doing. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, he's good people.
I enjoy the things that we do, because if you do, then you do, and you do.
Because if you
All right.
do,
you see,
what you do?
No.
Feels like all of my heroes are like disappearing. Hulk Hogan, this like, what's going on with this world?
I think Bill Cosby disappeared when he did Ghost Dad.
I think there's a conspiracy against the 80s.
Well,
no more 80s. That's what made
Like,
the
who's
2010s so great.
That's-
Just more 90s.
We have
that's
no more
because
Whitney.
the
We
90s
have
were
no
so
more,
much better. It's because the
no
90s
more
were so much
Cosby,
better.
No more
no
Day
Hulk
Glow.
Hogan. I mean, like,
Right.
who's next? No more Bruce Springsteen? Is something gonna happen to him?
Oh God, no, not Bruce Springsteen.
Not the boss.
Also,
Not the
ahoy hoy, and thank you to everyone watching at diamondclub.tv. Hello, everybody.
Oh, that's why
Join
Petey
the conversation.
does that. I thought he was
Yes.
just doing that to be cool. Well, he is cool.
No, that's one of our things.
No, he's not cool.
All right.
He just does that.
All right, let's start
All right.
the show.
Mark.
Hey, sorry
Mark,
for
good
the
to go?
delay. I am.
No problem. All right,
Welcome.
we are
Thank you
good
for
to
joining
go.
us.
Oh, thank you for the invite.
All right.
We are
making
live.
that mistake.
All right, everybody shut up so I can start it. All right. 5, 3, 2. What's up, cats and kittens, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, and welcome to the A3K podcast, powered by the fine folks at anime3000.com. The future of anime and manga will be broadcasted, podcasted, live streamed, written, and reviewed courtesy of the A3K network. I'm David Majors, my co-host, Jack D. Tyler D. What is up, Jake Quellen?
The price of gas. No one's ever heard that before. I make original jokes, people.
Jack with the topical humor. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You are learning well, Jake Quellen. You are
Yes, I
learning
am.
well.
I learned my
The
mistake
training-
from last time.
The training is beginning to stick, ladies and gentlemen. The training is beginning to stick. And the man responsible for all of the training that I'm providing Jack and everything else at anime3000.com, executive producer, founder, and overall chief executive offender of the A3K network, coming to you live via the intertubes from Otakon 2015 in Baltimore, Maryland, the one, the only, Mr. Sean Russell.
Let me tell you something. Oh, well, too soon?
No,
Too soon?
no, no, way too soon. Way too soon.
How about Liz? Look at... I'm kidding.
No.
No. Bad Sean.
I am so excited at Otakon, but I'm in my hotel room right now because I had to give you guys the scoop on what's going on. But no worries, ladies and gentlemen. Anime 3000 is being represented well this year. We have Kaz, who's going around taking a bunch of awesome videos and photos. Cody, Max, Leanne, and even Kevin Marty, who is the webmaster right now. All the wonderful posts that have been posted this week have been courtesy of him. So kudos to him. I have not given him any recognition or any shout outs. So we have a huge presence at Anime Expo Oh wow! Did I just say that? At Otakon,
Oh.
at Otakon this year.
We'll
I'll
cut
talk
that
about-
out. We'll cut that
Yeah,
out.
we'll cut that on
Cut
the
that out.
post. No, we won't. You can check. Yeah, so definitely, I'll talk a little bit more about that later.
All right, Sean. Also, shout out to Lily Inverse in the Artist Alley with Lily Inverse Designs. Also at Otakon 2015. Shout out to you, Lily. I know internet is sparse there in the Artist Alley, so we tried to get her in as well. We tried to get everybody, just get all sorts of shenanigans in. I tried to convince Sean to come in and do a drunken convention episode like I've done, but it looks like it wasn't going to happen this time.
No, I
But
do.
a lot-
I do all my drinking way before the podcast.
Well,
Oh,
I'll just have
understandable.
to just mention JoJo a little bit more. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming right out of the gate with that. Take a shot of whatever libations that you have on hand, because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is so much the hotness. It's just so good.
Amen.
And if there's one person that I can discuss our thoughts on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with, it is Mark from the Mega Anime Ultra Show. What's going on, Mark? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys inviting me again, especially for an Otakon episode, since I haven't been to any con in about 10 years. But your call. Thanks for having me back.
Let's
and I'm
talk
just
about
amazed
some
that
stuff.
Sean actually has an internet connection at a con. So what kind of magic you're working, I don't know, but it must be tied to your beard. It's a magnificent beard.
His beard is actually
I'll keep that a secret. I'll keep that a secret. It's a con
his
secret.
beard is
It's
his
a
beard is
beard.
actually made of that material that they put around car windshields now to make antennas.
Oh.
See, Sean's beard is actually fiber wire. It's actually fiber wire.
It's connected.
At raves, he puts fiber optics in them and
And then it glows.
it's just incredible.
I'm actually surprised how strong the signal is. It actually is pretty dope. From the last hotel I
Yeah.
was at, it was kind of weak.
You've got more pixels than I expected.
Now with more pixels.
More pixels in more places.
Now, Sean,
Do we
we
want-
have to ask
Sure we
before we
want
jump in. You are actually going to go to the rave and have like some LEDs and some stuff in your beard, right? That is going to happen, I hope.
Oh yeah, that was last night. Now let me tell you, the gold beads and the
What's your
craziness.
beard?
Oh my goodness, do they still do gold beads? Is that still a thing? I'm just
Sure.
I think
sure.
the thing now to do is a Splatoon beard where you just kind of take ultraviolet craft paint and just all over the facial hair, just everywhere. I'd love to see something
I
like
think
that.
that's something else, Jack. I think that's something else. I'm just saying.
Maybe. I don't know.
I just want to say that I'm perfectly okay with all of these things.
You're a
with all.
kid now. You have kids now. Oh dear.
Well, let's
Nice.
just
You have
jump
kids
right
now.
Are we all ready to? Are we all ready to jump into this? And I hope all of you out there are ready to jump into this. If you're watching live, go ahead onto your social media platform thingy, open up your Twitter machine, and use the hashtag A3KLive. And just let people know that we have the A3K network live at
Yes.
Otakon. Hashtag Otakon 2015. Let them know. Let them know. We in here. We in here.
I'm actually
Why
going
they're
to
fun-
retweet. I'm actually going to retweet anybody who uses the hashtag A3K Live for a while. I will. I promise.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. And join the chat room too. Join the chat room if you're in there. The YouTube channel is A3K TV. Please do. Please do. We'd really appreciate it. First story, of course, we would be remiss. I think it'd been a little while, Jack, before we talked about a story where Japanese otaku ranked things.
Oh,
And
yes.
the latest list came out where Japan ranked anime and manga's most shocking endings. Now we're not going to go through
Oh,
the whole
God.
list. We're just going to keep it to the top 5 because they had pictures for this one. So we'll start with the top 5. I'll just throw these out there. Number 5, one I've honestly never heard of.
I'm calling it right now. Get into it. Death Note. Death Note's going to be on there, and it's going to be stupid because if you didn't expect that,
Actually, Jack, Death Note is number 6.
there you
I
go.
was so close to can still talk about it.
Surprise, surprise.
Oh my god, the protagonist died even though he was evil, and the artist and author have gone on record saying that they have kind of a thing about morals for the series. Guys, my super emo fanfiction ruined! 11111.
And the Shinigami said, I will be the one writing your name in this book.
I will write the name of everybody who decided to vote for that, because that is bull hockey. Why? It's so
Alright,
obvious
now,
that it happened from the beginning. They foreshadow. Foreshadowing is a writing technique, people.
The most shocking part is how much of a nosedive the show took once Elle died.
Oh, wow.
Oh no! I gave the ending.
I stopped watching.
The really shocking part, we all know, is the second opening. Free porn.
Oh, yeah,
Free porn!
the mistranslated anime.
Because I really need to suck her. I really need to suck her. Hey, I need to suck her. Do with that what you will, David. Put that on a soundboard.
That's at Jack D. Tyler D on Twitter. Also, Yoshi Star Spirit on YouTube. That's Yoshi Star Spirit on YouTube.
So we have established that Death Note is on here. What else is on this list, David?
Please,
right,
please move on.
Yeah, Jack. Anyway, Mark, I heard you when I mentioned that I had not seen the number 5 show on this list, so I want to know about this one. Your Lie in April.
Well, for starters, it's not really all that shocking at all. I think they kind of give the ending away almost from the very beginning, but that's kind of the point of the show. It's really kind of a melodramatic tearjerker, and you watch it because it's a melodramatic tearjerker, but it's beautifully done, and I really, really like the show. It was one of my favorites from fall season. I think that's when it came out. It's beautiful, it's tearjerky, and, you know, if that's your cup of tea, if you want to have a good cry over an anime, that's your show. But it's not in the least bit shocking. it's
all right,
telegraphed.
Number four for shocking endings? Really?
Okay, I'll tell you what's shocking, that they decided that they were going to let the loophole actually work. I'm sorry, I can't get over that, David. The fact that they let that happen, and it was so dumb. It was so stupid.
All right, Jack, I was actually perfectly fine with this ending, because.
Is it shocking though?
It was shocking that they let it work, because.
It was shocking that this got animated with that kind of style. Oh my god, the visual. I'm sorry, David.
Are you really saying you didn't like the visuals for Madoka Magica?
Take a look at it.
Who are you?
Terrible. Okay, no.
There's a lot of things wrong with Madoka Magica.
Let's take a moment to look at the animation. The finished, fully colored animation looks like animation roughs. It looks like roughs. Somebody looks like they just went over it in pencil, especially around the eyes.
Jack, that was the point.
What's the point? To make it look terrible? and then like terribly rehash Faust in a way that makes them realize we don't know what we're talking about.
Yes, that was the point. That is exactly what the point was.
David.
Well, then the ending isn't shocking. The anime is shockingly bad.
The anime is shockingly bad. Yes, thank you.
Can we then talk for a second about Yuki Yuna as a hero? Because really Madoka Magica gave birth to Yuki Yuna as a hero. And that to me had a way more shocking ending, I felt, because it brought back the entire premise that the show had built up to that point. It was a huge disappointment for me. Up until that point, I thought it was pretty darn good. And a pretty good ride, and I enjoyed it a lot. But then it completely flipped the entire premise upside down, or on its head, or inside out, or however. It was bad.
Sometimes shocking endings don't always work. I'll tell you what had a shock, or at least in the manga, I tried to steer clear of the anime, but the movie was pretty good. This is a really huge throwback, but it's actually Magical Girl with a slightly dark premise done correctly. Cardcaptor Sakura. Okay? Okay, Cardcaptor Sakura. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the over 20-year-old anime or manga, but the
Were you
girl...
even alive when that came out?
Yes, I watched it. And then I read it, and then realized that I should read it a little bit more because dubs are terrible back then. I know who you are! Anyway, in the end of the first season arc, whatever you want to call it, after she's captured all the cards, the guy, the older high school guy that the little tiny elementary school girl has a crush on, yes, it's like Sailor Moon, only a little bit more acceptable, but not really. I mean, middle school and college kid, no, but maybe this is fine because she's still kind of small and just likes him because he pays attention to her, whatever. That bespectacled, super nice guy who always comes in, like shares his food, whatever, even though he eats like 90% of it and it's all like a metric ton. He ends up being this guardian, much like the little mascot that's been following Sakura around. It's a shock because you don't expect it, but they also kind of tie it in like, oh, maybe it's this woman who's been following her around and has like the moon thing, and they're talking about the guardian of the moon because the mascot guy's the sun, and then all of a sudden, oh, I captured the last card. Wings start spreading around this bespectacled guy. Bam! All of a sudden, he's this weird moon dude. And you know what? The shock of the second season was even more, even in the movie, because the movie had a really cool thing with the nothing card, but in spite of all that, don't watch Madoka Magica! Read Cardcaptor Sakura. Don't watch it. Just read Cardcaptor Sakura. So good. It's so good. It's when Clamp was decent, because sometimes they're not, but it's okay, because we can just kind of pretend.
I think the explanation is the reason why people who don't watch anime hate people like us.
Yeah.
Jack, you are officially on timeout for ever intimating that Clamp was ever good. You're on timeout.
Okay, no. I'll tell you a reason why. I'll tell you a reason why.
You're on timeout.
No,
You're on timeout.
love Clamp. I love Clamp. I love Clamp a lot. But here's what they did wrong. They decided that they were going to do like a Kingdom Hearts thing with it, and it became incomprehensible because then they didn't know what they were writing anymore.
Isn't that all Clamp does? Like Kingdom Hearts type stuff?
No,
where
I mean
all
like
these characters intertwine into the different shows and...
It was like
and
straight up
it's a
that
shoujo.
in Tsubasa.
Except with a shoujo twist, Sean.
Well, no, that was when they did Tsubasa, because then that was a shonen, and then they were also doing Holic at the same time, and that was even more like, we're deliberately intertwining it, but also they're different people, and it was extremely Kingdom Heartsy, because none of it made any sense. Other than that, a lot of their stuff is really good, and I really like Holic, but Tsubasa is just incomprehensible. Take a hit and then read Tsubasa, because that's the only way that you'll be able to get a head around it after maybe the 10th volume. But it's still good. I love Clamp. I love Clamp a lot. I've been dotting some Clamp. We'll talk about that later. But oh my god, Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, why?
You're on timeout.
Okay.
Number 3 for a shocking ending, Anohana. Guys, Anohana.
I have never seen it. I'm out.
Cool.
I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I haven't seen it.
They are otaku, after all. They are otaku, so they probably watch a lot of stuff that we would never touch.
I don't know any of the last 3.
Also, I want to give a big shout out to One Eyes in 3D in the chat room at A3K TV for mentioning Space Runaway Edeon, which was number 16, where the entire universe is destroyed, but not before seeing a child's head get blown off.
So the end of Evangelion, but good.
Space Runaway Edeon was the show that Yoshiyuki Tomino did after Mobile Suit Gundam. And basically this was Tomino when he was in the downswing of his depression. Oh, you're going to cancel my masterpiece, are you? You're going to cancel it at 43 episodes? I'll show you. I'm going to kill children. I'm going to blow up the world with an ultra-powerful super robot. I'll show you. I'll show you all!
think he forgot that he was writing an anime.
David, what did he make during the upswing of his depression?
He made a show in the. He made a show in
one.
1998, and Sean, this is legit. This is a show called Overman King Gainer, where the robots are doing the monkey dance in the opening intro.
Nice. Nice.
I am confused. This was better?
This is
Tomino, you see, before Hideaki Anno did anything, Tomino was doing all of it. Also, this was also right after Ideon, where he blew up the universe. He made Zeta Gundam, where everybody's favorite characters would die horrible, horrible, gruesome deaths. Either being impaled by mechs, which were fully animated. These scenes were fully animated. Children, of course, dying. And really, really heartfelt sorrow for characters that everybody loved and felt sorry for, like clones who had their brains warped and manipulated would die horrible, gruesome deaths. So, yes, Mobile Suit Gundam, Tomino, yeah, he did all of that first. Except it was good, because it's Gundam. Shut up, I will fight you.
It's fine, it's fine. No one's arguing with you, David, it's okay.
Not anymore. Not after that synopsis.
Oh, God. Zeta Gundam is beyond just Mobile Suit Gundam. It is one of the greatest anime series I've ever watched. Everyone out there, if you get nothing else from this, watch Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. It's the sequel to the original, and it's brilliant. Number 1 on this list, Code Geass?
That's
Code
really
Geass.
not shocking. Oh
You
my
know
god,
what? You know what? I will not.
guys.
Wait. I will not stand for any spoilers of Code Geass. That is one series I do not want you guys to spoil. There's ways to talk
Okay.
about it without spoiling the ending.
It vaguely resembles a certain Shakespearean play. Let's say that, because
Yes.
once you get that in your mind, it makes perfect sense the way that things go about. It's so inevitable. Seriously, this is as bad as Death Note, you guys. Why?
Is it as you like it? No? Sorry.
No. It's the Taming of the Shrew.
Yes,
I'm
low,
a
obvious.
Clearly, the Merchant of Venice. Suzaku just really wanted that pound of flesh, guys.
Right.
Jesus Christ, my video. Live internet.
It happens. Live internet. But speaking of the internet, guys,
Oh, boy.
while we've all been talking about Otakon and announcements and stuff, Anna Twitter, everybody's favorite place, has come up with something really wonderful. And also, I love the fact that this is a rare opportunity for the A3K podcast to take an article from CNN. CNN actually reported on
The
this story.
authority of news.
Never gets anything wrong.
No.
This
never.
is as legit as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. Introducing Isis-chan. Her name is Isis-chan, and she's how nerds around the world are trying to silence violent terrorist propaganda from the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. It
Is that what they're
started.
calling it?
A cute hand grenade in that picture?
It kind of looks like Haro from Mobile Suit Gundam, but I guess it's
But it's a
supposed to be a kawaii melon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what? I love me some Bobobo. I love the citrus grenades, so I'm totally fine with melon grenades. That's fine. Citrus, melon!
Now, the basic premise of Isis-chan is that the internet has attempted to kind of poison the search results for ISIS. If you search online for ISIS, you'll see what ISIS is doing. But however, the internet is attempting to make Isis-chan the thing that comes up. Okay, there she is eating another melon. So essentially, this is a battle between the silliness of the internet and ISIS over SEO results.
I have a question, David. Where is
Yes, Sean.
Trump-chan? Where is Trump-chan?
Give it a month. I'll say we'll see it in about a month.
The world needs Trump.
I imagine that every presidential candidate will get some kind of anime anthropomorphization within a month or two.
There was Obama-chan. I think there was a Cheney-chan for some reason, because I guess guns, because you want your yandere. And then there was Romney-sama, Romney-senpai. If any of you haven't seen that, that's pretty good. But there's also
nobody noticed.
There's also the Twitter account. There's the Twitter account Trump as Anime, which is pretty good, in which we have side-by-side comparisons of anime characters in similar, if not entirely identical poses to Donald Trump, and it is quite glorious. So I believe it's Trump as Anime. If it's not, I apologize.
I think we just turn Trump's hair into Migi from Parasite and call it a day.
It is in fact Trump as Anime. I was correct. So go and give that a follow, and when you're done with that, go to Know Your Meme and type in Obama-chan, because good lord, that is excellent.
Before you do all of that, open up your Photoshop or your photo editing software of choice and contribute to the movement that is ISIS-Chan.
Marvelous.
Because this is fantastic. I'm loving that. I feel like Anna Twitter way too often gets a really bad rap, and for the most part,
deservedly so.
I disagree. I see this and I say this is something that is for the force of good, or at the very least, it is for the force of comedy. And I am highly amused by ISIS-Chan.
I can read this a different way though. Like if someone doesn't realize what Anna Twitter is, and they see this ISIS-Chan, they're not really hip to things. They're like, ooh, ISIS has a mascot.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty cool. I like anime. I wonder if ISIS is good.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction, that it's actually missing the mark a little bit. I mean, Google bombing is super effective, especially when you look how Dan Savage dismantled all current and future and past Rick Santorum campaigns.
Don't look that up. Do not look up. Don't do it.
But that is an effective use of what you're trying to accomplish. To, counteract terrorism by making a cute terrorist. I'm not entirely sure that, works as intended.
I really don't see how, if someone out there searches for ISIS and sees cute anime girl, they would make the correlation that, I like anime, that must mean ISIS is okay. This is clearly a way to, what's the word I'm looking for, delegitimize ISIS and show them almost as an illegitimate group to not be taken seriously. And I think that's generally the idea with Google bombing.
I agree with the principle. I just don't think in this particular case it's super effective. And not to, be name-dropping weird people in this podcast, but
do it.
I think Mel Brooks did it wonderfully with the producers and how he satirized Hitler, because he said you can't really have a conversation about the topic, but if you make fun of him, then you can take him down. And I don't necessarily see that this is making fun of ISIS as much as it's just creating a cute-looking girl that's a terrorist.
So let me ask you a question. Let me flip it then. If ISIS wanted to reach out to anime fans, what would they do?
Well, this.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would. First of all,
they're reaching out to the They are actually reaching out to that age group and that demographic, and a lot of people in Europe and a lot of different places, even America, are going to Syria, going to these different places. Not knowing what they're getting themselves into. So, I mean, I
don't think this is the method they would use. I think that so much about this organization is so against any and all cultural diversity. So I look at this and I see it as the exact opposite of what ISIS would stand for.
I
That
think
makes
they
sense.
created Joe Camel to make smoking cool. I like the idea in principle. I just think the execution here misses the mark a little bit. But, I'm an old fart buzzkill, so I
Here's the
poo-poo
thought.
everything these young people do.
Here's a thought. Speaking of young people, see what I did there, Sean?
Uh,
What would you consider the average fan of the average age of the anime fan who would look at this or a similar piece of artwork and go, "Oh, that's so kawaii des." Because I want to kind of think of something, but just go ahead. What do you think? Like average age, looking at that and going, "Oh my gosh, Isis-chan's so cute though," and is watching things that are basically that. What's the average age? You think maybe 16, 15?
I would say
Maybe?
probably 15.
Yeah, I mean, let's just ignore the fact that most of them are probably 35 and older, but you'd say 15,
No!
16,
What?
like 15.5, something like that. Okay, so let's use that as an average. How many of these average anime fans who love kawaii are actually paying attention to what ISIS is doing? And if they do somehow find something out about what ISIS has been doing, will they care? Here's what I'm thinking. This isn't going to end up being the movement that it started as, of belittling ISIS and trying to build awareness with that. No, it's going to end up being like it's gonna go one of two ways. They're either going to start adding her to pictures like they've been adding ponies to black and white photos of freaking Holocaust victims and the Twin Towers and things like that, or
Yes.
or they're going to be putting it in their 4chan message boards, trying to win an argument, and then being like, "Oh, this is you," or whatever. I don't know what they do on forums, but I assume that in order to win an argument, they post a picture that they feel is most like their opponent, who they believe is devoid of logic, when they're actually probably a decently human being. Never mind, what am I saying? It's a forum. It's going to be something like that. I'm going to give it 2 months. I'm going to be generous and say 2 months. But that's my thought.
I really think at the end of the day, this is all meant to to delegitimize and, as they say in the UK, take the piss out of an organization that wants to be taken very, very seriously. And I
hope it
don't
stays
really
that
have an
way.
issue with that.
I hope it stays that way. I'm just saying it probably won't. As One Eye Season 3D says, otaku don't give a fuck. So there you go. There, point taken.
So in 2 months, as you said, Jack, people will be using ISIS-chan as they use the term "you are literally Hitler." Is that what you're saying?
Basically.
Probably.
Oh, sorry, Martin.
Probably
Sorry.
exactly.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
okay.
sorry.
It could be worse. It could be worse, David. You could have gone on one of your rants. So I'll avoid I'll avoid angering you. Because
Yes.
I know what you think is literally Hitler, and let's not go there, guys. I swear to Christ, you don't want him to say something is literally Hitler, because he really means it.
Right.
Ugh.
Don't do that. Don't do
Well, if you want to explain ISIS with anime, then compare them to Yuno from Future Diary.
If you want to
There you go.
explain terrorism,
They want to win your hearts and minds, but they're crazy.
if you want to
And they
explain
will murder
terrorism,
you.
if you want to explain terrorism, you can't beat Airman. Too soon? Too soon? No? That was a 9/11
Well-
joke. Sorry.
Since it was mentioned already, I think the best example would be Code Geass.
No.
I think that pretty much does it right there.
Explain that one to me.
Well,
means-
you've got the kid rebelling against his dad, who wants to take over the world.
I'd be careful with that analogy because
Yeah.
you
I don't wanna
can
put my
say
hair in
that
white gloves,
one
Dad.
side was justified over the others, and it sounds like the side that you're comparing to ISIS is the side that a lot of people feel is justified. We can go a very slippery slope with that.
I'm on the
Yes,
side of
we can
Snyder,
Explain
but
it
that's just because
almost
he's
better
hot.
with Death Note. not that anything should be explained with Death Note.
Nothing should be explained with Death Note except maybe if you kind of want to be a dork while you make your death penalty debate. Maybe. Maybe.
I'll wear
Actually,
that dork comment proudly.
You know what? That would be really interesting. Guys in the chat, guys on the hashtag A3K Live and Twitter, let us know what anime do you think would actually help correlate to real-life problems? Because the more I think about it, the more Death Note would be an interesting way to discuss with nerds about the death penalty. Unless they're all like, Kami Kira is Kami Desu Kokoro.
I mean, excuse my bias here, but I'm always using Ghost in the Shell for sci-fi stuff. I've done panels about sci-fi and technology and cyberpunk with anime, and I'm always trying to talk about how Gundam tells us that war is hell. So please use the hashtag A3K Live. Go on the Twitter machine and do that. And while we're doing that, Sean, give us the on the ground report from Otakon 2015. How has the convention been? What have been the big announcements that have caught your attention? Does the ice cold water still cost only $1, sir?
Yes, and in some places, ladies and gentlemen, ice cold water costs 75 cents. But who has time to get a quarterback?
How dare you speak of that to me? I'm in California. You're triggering. How dare you? We have a drought, sir.
Oh, sorry to hear that. But don't worry, water's coming soon. I hear.
I'm sorry, Jack.
To the north.
That was a little bit of dry humor. Sorry, Jack.
Drought child.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. So basically with Otakon, I went and grabbed it. This is the official program of Otakon this year. It's obviously not flipped or whatever. It is flipped or whatever. But it's pretty interesting so far because I just came back from Anime Expo, so getting to compare both conventions back to back, you can obviously see a huge difference on how tight Anime Expo felt compared to Otakon. I feel like this year it feels a little bit more. I don't know. It just feels. It doesn't remind me of what Otakon used to be back in 2000 when I went 2012. I remember going back to back and it being like, wow, Otakon is. I like the way Otakon's run. It has so much going on, but this time this feels kind of like whatever. But as far as some cool things that I have seen at Otakon, I haven't really seen a lot of interesting things.
It's not great, huh?
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really stand out to me. I'm a little underwhelmed, I have to say, and it's not just because I've been to so many conventions. It's just kind of like I feel like all of the big announcements have already happened, and right now, like the biggest announcement I guess from Funimation is that they acquired Speed Racer. And other than that, it's kind of like they rescued a few titles and. All the voice actors are kind of talking about stuff that's already come out. We're a couple of weeks away from Dragon Ball Resurrection coming out, and you have the voice actors talking about that, and they already did that both at San Diego and Anime Expo. So I feel like a lot of things are kind of rehashes of things that have already happened. Other than that, and I'm sorry if I'm boring you guys, but yeah, Baltimore's decent, I guess. But the good thing about it, the good thing about it, oh yeah, Baltimore is, there's no riots happening. Just in case anybody didn't know that happened in Baltimore a couple of months ago. On the Anime 3000 front, it's a way better convention because I, finally got to meet Max Vader and Leanne. Second time meeting Cody in person, which is kind of an interesting thing. Like I literally almost talk to Cody like every single week, but it's a different experience, and I know probably a lot of you can relate, especially if you deal with a lot of people online. Seeing somebody in person, it's just kind of like, okay, this is a bit weird. Okay, yeah.
And
So
this is not dissimilar to what I deal with PD Rave, and we've gone to conventions, and with Kaz, Brandon Cooper, who I do a show with, who lives in Baltimore and is at Otakon. It's after a few trips, it's pretty cool, but that first encounter, it's like, oh hey, because I when I first met PD, I put out my hand like, "Hey, Petey, what's going on? Good to see you." And he gave me like the big bear hug. It was like, "Oh, hey, all
We're
right,
doing this
awesome.
now.
Okay, this is happening. All right."
yeah,
But it was cool. After 2 years consecutively of hanging out at conventions, it was pretty much okay.
The bear hugs wore you down. It only took 2 years, but they wore you down.
yeah, and
Yes.
the big thing is I'm a little bit different than I am online than I am offline. So it's kind of gets some use. Taking some getting used to me, I guess. But at the same time, it was still cool to see. Had some really good conversations. You just mentioned Kaz, Brandon Cooper, who's doing a lot of photography. So once it does come up on the website, that's all courtesy of him and his handiwork. So I'm definitely support anything that he does. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't want to bore anybody else with. If something comes up, I'll interrupt you guys mid sentence and let you know. But
Yes, if like a group of JoJo cosplayers burst into your hotel room, please let them in and tell them that the A3K podcast fully endorses and supports them.
Shout outs to JoJo cosplayers. You guys are amazing. I hope to join you this winter. Coming this winter.
No, you should join the horde of countless Steven Universe cosplayers, Jack.
Oh, clearly! With their 3D printed spears that look so realistic.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but I love it anyway.
I'm just shouting, I suppose. I'm
I
not
heard
even
a
sure
tinge
myself.
of rage.
I really don't know what to think, okay? I saw, when I went to Fanime, I saw a Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal Sugalite, and I was immediately
What?
miffed. And I was kind of okay with the show even back then, but nobody in God's green earth is going to do that to my Michael Jackson. Nobody! Especially
Would-
Smooth Criminal. You need to go to
Would you-
hell if you bring Nikki into Michael Jackson. You just need to go to hell.
What if it were Garnet? What if it were like young Michael Jackson and it were Garnet? Would that have been
No.
okay?
No. You just can't cross him over with anything but Hazama from Blaze Blue, because that's what makes sense.
There was also a character in Battle Arena Toshinden that was kind of a palette swap on Michael Jackson as well. So that's
Anything that's legitimately... I mean, like, Garnet or Sugalite, or basically any character from that show has anything in common with his swagger. His officially sanctioned trademark, put it in a bottle and sell it to starving children all across the world so they can finally realize what it likes to be alive and breathing and enjoying the sun and the shine and the rain and the babies. Give that to them. Don't let anybody who doesn't have that personality take it from you. You can't. Garnet doesn't have that kind of a personality. None of them do. Nobody better lay a finger on my Smooth Criminal. Or my Butterfinger.
I guess we've just been hit and struck by one, and her name is Jackie.
I have a
Taylor Day.
3DS Kino Slay.
Nicely done. Sean, I just want to ask, are you going to be participating in any Otakon Saturday evening silliness shenanigans? What do you have planned for the rest of the convention?
For the rest of the convention, I have a few interviews lined up, and there's gonna be a huge thing this Saturday night. I'm gonna be going to.
Where might we be seeing those interviews, Sean?
You'll be seeing those courtesy of my hard drive, as I added to the queue of other interviews that I have to cut up and put on anime3000.com. So maybe by the time I go to Otakon again in 5 years, I'll eventually start putting out these interviews. No, but in all seriousness, with the A3K radio and a lot of other cool stuff, especially I mentioned Kevin at the beginning of the episode, it's kind of freeing me up to do a lot of stuff that I've wanted to do for a long time with Anime 3000. So in a future meeting, which you're all welcome to join, by the way, I'll be going over those plans. Really
All
cool
of
things.
you. You're all invited.
You're all invited. Everybody that's listening to this right now, because I'm pretty sure that you won't show up. But we have Prove Me Wrong. Prove Me Wrong. Yeah, just a quick thing. We have some gaming and a couple of other cool stuff that I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks rather. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so
Now,
to answer your question, yeah, lots of fun, cool, happening parties that are happening.
I want to throw this out to Mark because you put something very interesting in the Google Doc.
I did. Oh God.
Yes, you did.
Don't quote me on my quotes.
You said, and I quote, "I am old and I hate cons. It's just a place where I constantly lose my kids." Now, it is.
It's just
very
constantly having my head on a swivel, like, stay right with me, stay right with me. I told you to stay with me.
I cannot
it's not
imagine,
enjoyable.
especially, and I've been to nerd conventions of various genres. Anime cons are different. Anime cons are truly their own beast. And Mark, I can't imagine what it would be like, especially for a convention the size of Otakon, and for you to bring the kids. Oh my goodness, that has to be. It must be a nightmare.
Well, my kids are also like really far apart in age. There's like a 5-year gap and then there's a 6-year gap. So the one thing that might freak the youngest out freaks the oldest one out for completely different reasons. And the things I need them to stay away from people from are also completely different but all related. So it's like trying to, herd cats in a room of 500 people. And they're all
what you need to do is dress them up as Pokemon that have different evolutions, and you will never lose them because it's good for the crowd.
Brilliant!
Just for the crowd of people taking pictures.
That is amazing. Yes. We're doing this.
So what you're saying, Mark? So what you're saying, Mark, is that we probably wouldn't be seeing you at the rave on Saturday night at a convention, is what you're saying.
Well, no.
Okay.
Most importantly, you won't see my daughters at the rave at the convention on Saturday.
No.
But I do like the idea of the Pokemon because, costumes that are really difficult to maneuver, and that means that they'll be slow, so that might help.
Easy to find.
Yes. All right. Good note. Good tips.
See,
Yeah, I like it.
We're helping parents here
Yes.
on the A3K podcast. We're helping
parents one anime podcast at a time.
That's right. Guys, I want to ask, what have you all, Jack, we'll start with you. What have you been dotting? What have you been watching, playing, all that good stuff?
I did want to bring up, but I never found a decent way to bring it up, but I wanted to tell people about something interesting that happened at the last con I went to, which was Fanime 2015, but I couldn't seg it in, but I really, really want to, because first of all, JoJo drinking game, and second of all, it was really, really fun.
Do it. Go.
We met a Johnny Joestar cosplayer, and her friend who was cosplaying this adorable Joseph, just adorable old Joseph too. And she had like this curly wavy hair, and she was just really sweet and really kind, and she was just pushing around Johnny everywhere, and it was really nice. And we met them, and it was really fun. And at the time, one of my friends was cosplaying. One of my male friends was cosplaying as Faye from Trigun, which was really cool and really brave of him, and he doesn't do it because he's trans or anything, he just did it because
Faye from Cowboy Bebop, just to clarify?
Faye? Oh my god, what did I say Faye for? Arrgh, I meant Millie from Trigun. Oh my god, I'm so tired. You have no idea. Okay, well anyway, we met at the Gamer Hall, and I played Guilty Gear with Johnny for a little while, never get to say that anymore. Well, I'll probably get to say it next year, but afterwards we decided we'd pick up a board game. So I was looking for something kind of fun but not too complicated. I really wanted to play something like Betrayal at House on the Hill or something like that, but instead I picked up Clue. And we decided we'd take all the pieces and JoJo characters and send scene up to part 1. We decided we would name them such. Professor Plum, the purple piece, became George Joestar, our dear old father. White became Arena, because, I don't know, I guess she wore a white dress at some point. Yellow was, of course, Dio Brando. Green was Speedwagon. Red was Zappelli. And, God, who am I missing?
I actually recognize these characters now.
Yeah, now you recognize them, aren't you glad? And, oh yeah, Blue. And Miss Peacock, I wasn't saying their names, but Miss Scarlet was Zappelli, Will A. Zappelli. Green was Green, I guess that's Mr. Green, so original, was Speedwagon. Mrs. White was Arena, Professor Plum, George, and then Miss Peacock, the blue one, was Jonathan. And I picked the yellow because, as all of you know, I've kind of claimed to be Dio because you thought it was Jack, but it was me, Dio. And the whole time, in order to just liven up the gameplay, because we didn't really care, and half of us had forgotten the rules, and we didn't have enough people to use all of the pieces, so we forgot to correctly dole out the cards, I just kept saying, I'd like to make a suggestion for the crime. It was me, Dio, in the ballroom with the pool cue, or whatever. And it was quite entertaining, and quite a bit of fun, and we all just got really into character because we're nerds. And I highly recommend you play that with a bunch of people who don't know what you're talking about, and then tell them to watch it. On my behalf. You're welcome, everybody. But sorry about that little interlude. I wanted to bring that up, and I couldn't find a way because you guys got so into specific detail, and I was really nervous about just going like, anyway, but now I've done something even worse.
Jack, what you did right there is a prime example of why anime cons are awesome. And you should go to animecons.com, ran by my good friend Patrick Delahanty, and find one in your area. Make some friends. It'll be good for you.
Yes, sir. It was Jonathan in the hallway with luck and pluck. One eye. You see, this is why you get a pass. This is why One Eye you get a pass for liking the things you do. Hashtag bad taste pride all the time.
He doesn't get a pass. He just gets a longer leash.
Yes. We have to yank him in a little less often than the others.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
What have you been watching? What have you been consuming?
Ooh, well, now that I got re-invited to the show by Jack, I decided to give JoJo another chance because I picked
yes. Drink, my children. Drink.
Mark,
I picked it up about a year ago and got.
It seems like you and I started watching this like around the same time. So I want to know what your take on it was.
Well, I think this is one of those shows where I think you really get faked out by the first episode, because it starts off really brutal and grim, and there are puppies being burned, and then there's domestic abuse, and so I got through the first episode, and I was just like, this is not for me. But coming back to the show, I thought, no, I'll give this another shot, and I have to say it's one of the greatest, stupidest shows I've ever seen. Out of all these 70s and 80s music references you can make a kick-ass drinking game, it's like watching Days of Our Lives if Quentin Tarantino was directing. It is just so over the top. It's glorious.
So you're saying it's Kill Bill?
Glorious. It's no. if Kill Bill was constantly making bad music references.
Didn't Josuke bear a striking resemblance to a character from Kill Bill?
I honestly, I think I'm like 8 or 9 episodes in, so I can't really, speak to the full run of the show.
And it might take a different.
Right. I could be, taking a different take on this show. once I've seen more episodes. But so far, just the fact that one of the characters is without blinking named RAO Speedwagon, and you have a Tom Petty in there, it's fantastic. And another character named after Led Zeppelin, and it's all done with such sincerity and conviction. It's wonderful.
I also, my not-so-secret love for progressive rock has a very strong appreciation for the ending theme being Roundabout by
Oh
Yes.
my God, yes!
That really caught my attention.
Oh yes, I was
After
looking...
the first episode, it was like, okay, JoJo.
The first
I'll
time
give you
I picked
another
it up, I didn't
chance.
make it to the
Okay.
ending, but once I did, it's like, oh, there's something brewing here. And I was looking for the clip from The Simpsons where I think Homer says, music died after the 70s. It reached its peak and died after the 70s. And the fact that Dio is, in my mind, Ronnie James Dio from the launching pad of some of the worst 80s hair bands out there, and you're actually pitting like 70s music bands against 80s music references, and the 80s music reference guys are all bad and must die. It's fantastic. Or that the 80s guys turn everybody into zombies, all the hair band zombies out there. I'm on board. I'm fully on board.
Well, to be fair, a lot of 80s rock was awful.
It was.
It was all just...
Once they introduced the synthesizer, everything went downhill.
The synth and the poppy
and then,
drum.
of course, you have the Hammond energy of the good guys, which the Hammond organ being, like the key 70s music instrument.
I mean,
I can't get enough of it right now.
it is the decade that spawned the term butt rock. So.
I'm going to be really honest. I actually got a little bit of a George Harrison vibe from when they were first training with Hamon. It was really cool. Maybe I'm the only one who does because I'm the only one who seems to care about George Harrison.
Well, George Harrison, Tibet, it's all in there. It would have probably been better if, Tom Petty had be George Harrison's son or something. I don't know.
Now, I have not gotten that far. Does Tom Petty have something where, like a move called "Running Down a Dream," or does he have does he have a crew that he hangs out with?
The Heartbreakers, yeah. He should have the followers should all be called the Heartbreakers or something.
Yeah, that would be great.
Interestingly enough, David, I actually listened to Tom Petty as a child. It's because my mother listened to him, but still, I enjoy that kind of reference. Yes.
Oh, yes. Sure.
So now, of course, you're trying to read into everything, like the Hammond energy that Baron Zeppeli introduces him to that grows plants. Is that a reference to Robert Plant? Is the mask a reference to the Kiss masks? I don't know, but I believe it.
Oh, it's so
again,
good.
You can dig through it and find the things if you want to look for them, and that makes the show so much better. Like I said, great drinking game.
I'd like to
I'm
ask
with you on all of this, and this is why I'm going to continue I'm going to keep an eye on JoJo. I'm going to go back to it every now and then.
So what I say to a lot of people with JoJo's is I got into it after Cody hyped it up to hell, and the first season. Things don't start to get serious, and I didn't start to see why the hype was real after Phantom Blood. After that, which I believe is the second season with Joseph Joestar, correct?
Yes, Battle Tendencies Part 2.
Yeah. Once you get to that, then you will start to understand why we are damaging livers across America with these JoJo references. The first with Jonathan is good. But it gets to another level once Joseph enters the picture.
I'd say it probably really picks up and you really start to understand what's really, maybe even just kind of with those final few episodes when they finally confront Dio in part 1. But Phantom Blood's so close to my heart, but it might be interesting to get maybe a discussion when there's maybe more of a more slow news week, and we can just all talk about more JoJo and ruin the livers of the chat because they are just bemoaning their own health right now. Oh my goodness, I'm so
I can
glad.
honestly say I find it very typical for anime that I have to watch at least 4 shows before I really have a handle on it, whether I like it or not. And JoJo is probably the best example of that. If you get halfway through the first show and you think this is what it's all about, it's not. Just keep watching. Same with Food Wars. Food Wars had such an incredibly bizarre and almost offensive first episode that it was like a weeding out process for the people that just wouldn't be able to take it, and then it went off in a much better direction.
I'm gonna say this right now, Mark, just to get you a little bit intrigued by what awaits you for Part 2, Battle Tendencies. Share a Coke with Joseph. That's all. That is all.
Nice. I can't wait.
I'm going to keep an eye on that. Because anyway. I guess I'm a bit behind in comparison to the rest of you.
So I should probably wrap up what else I'm doing. So I'm watching Gate, which I thought the premise might just be a complete cluster jam, but it's amazing. It's really turning out to be just amazing.
There's nothing like it.
No, I mean, you know,
you've got David.
You've got School Life, which is trying to combine super moe, boring prepubescent girls and apparently prepubescent teachers with very realistic zombie horror, and I think it's just crapping the bed. I'm not really getting it. And then you've got Himoto Umaru-chan, which I really like a lot. And outside of anime, yesterday I was forced by my child, our 10-year-old boy, to watch Pixels, which I expected to be just horrifyingly bad. And, you know, it is relatively horrifyingly bad, but I will say that Peter Dinklage is worth your ticket price alone. Go see him for Josh Gad and Peter Dinklage.
Let me ask you a question, Mark. Is it Adam Sandler bad, or is it bad?
All the scenes with Adam Sandler are bad, and the basic premise of why Adam Sandler and his friends get involved is also really stunningly bad. But thankfully, all that plot development happens very early on, and after that, it's just really good action, and you can kind of, you know, overlook Adam Sandler. But honestly, once Peter Dinklage comes on, it's brilliant. Whatever the man says and does, it's just brilliant.
Because I'm an Adam Sandler apologist. Like I have yet to see an Adam Sandler movie that I haven't liked. So when I hear anything that he's in, when I hear anything that he's in is horrible, 0 Rotten Tomatoes, I take it with a grain of salt because I get what he's trying to do. So that's why I want to know, like, I want to know, like,
for all his worth.
Is it bad for an Adam Sandler movie, or is it Adam Sandler bad?
No, it's you know, Adam Sandler makes movies for 10-year-old kids, and you know, the kids that schlep their parents to the movie theater, and he makes a hell of a lot of money with that formula, and it's that formula, and that's fine, and I expected it to be that formula, where, you know, a 50-year-old Adam Sandler for some reason ends up being a romantic lead. Makes no sense, but, you know, let's just beyond that. if he didn't feel forced to have that plot line in there, it would have been a-okay. But it's honestly a lot of action, and it's really nicely done in terms of the special effects. Josh Gad and particularly Peter Dinklage sell it. They are fully into their characters, and it just makes it great. Adam Sandler just doesn't even try to be anything but Adam Sandler, which is kind of sad because he had, I forgot what the title of the movie is, he did shortly after 9/11 do a very serious movie, and
but it didn't make him any money.
No, it didn't make him any money, but it was great. When he tried to stretch his acting chops, you really could see he can do better if he wants to do better. So I'm interested to see what he does now that he's got his 4-movie deal with Netflix under his belt. If you're gonna see more,
If you're Native American,
actually-
then you don't want to see what he's doing because
Oh,
apparently
God.
he's pissing a lot of people off.
Oh, you mean what was that movie with the weird, like, many horse, time of great wind?
Oh God.
Oh, freaking bedtime stories with that weird Western section and the weird tomahawk guy. Jeez, that movie is weird.
Yeah, it's not bedtime stories weird. It actually, moves along that premise pretty good. When you see the closing credits,
it's just weird.
they're actually cramming the entire closing credits of Pixels into an 8-bit retelling of the entire movie. So the plot itself can be told in 2 minutes. But you watch it for Peter Dinklage. And do watch it for Peter Dinklage, whether you run out and buy the ticket or you happen to see it, in 2 years on TV when it's on. That's where it's at. He's great.
I'm also kind of interested in the visuals too.
I'm not judging you, Mark. I'm not judging
fine.
you.
It's fine because I was actually a little excited
You do a lot of
when I saw the
things
trailer.
when you have, a 10-year-old child.
I understand. I understand. Jack, what have you been consuming?
Okay, yeah, since we kind of glossed over it with JoJo Clue. I've been playing Under Night In-Birth and realizing that it's probably the fighting game that I finally have the most momentum with. And so I'm actually going to try, and I do this every year. It's like when people on New Year's Eve go, I'm going to get in shape. Every year after EVO, I go, I'm going to get tournament good. So that's my New Year's resolution caliber promise to myself. Let's go ahead and see how far that goes. But
I'm getting myself ready for Tekken 7. I completely understand.
But it's a very solid game. Oh man, I just can't say enough about that. I really like. The only problem is that it's got one of those plots where everything terminology-wise is an English word with quotation marks around it, and they don't explain it because there isn't a straight-up story mode like most ArcSys games, so it's really just arcade mode with a couple of exchanges, and you kind of sort of don't really know what's going on because there's no manuals for games anymore to tell you this character killed the living bejesus out of this character's sister or whatever. So I kind of don't care, but at the same time their personalities are pretty expressive in their animation. And I want to say this right now. Y'all remember Gil from Street Fighter? I barely play Street Fighter. That's the one with the red and the blue halves, right? And the thong. That's Gil? Am I correct or am I wrong? I don't know. No one's answering me.
I deny any knowledge of that.
Well, that sprite.
Did you miss the part where I mentioned Tekken?
True.
Which is in fact not Street Fighter.
Yeah, and Street Fighter's kind of ho-hum, but I mean, oh my god, Nash, but whatever. And 5 is pretty awesome, and I'm glad that they did what they did with it in regards to content unlocking. But there was that one character, and I'm pretty sure it was Gil, but maybe it wasn't, maybe that was his brother, and he had the red side of his body and the blue side of his body, and they actually uniquely drew sprites to not mirror, so then he would have red on the right side, and then if you swapped over, if somebody went to the other side of the stage, he would have red on his left side instead. No, they consistently kept that colored difference, so he was an actual asymmetrical sprite, and there's a character like that in Under Night, and I appreciate it so very, very much. I mean, there's a lot more to appreciate about it, but that's just one of those things. The villainous character has a Cruella de Vil style dress, where it's black on one side and white on the other, or whatever color palette you choose. You can even choose like a Joker style with purple and green, and it's really interesting. And she has 2 different separate sprites that are unique for when she's facing one side or the other. So the color is consistent. It's not just a sprite mirror. And I love that so much because I feel like people are I'd like to name names, but I won't. I was really close to naming names. But there are certain companies that make asymmetrical character designs and then don't actually implement them in the actual design. So they either have to make a symmetrical version of that character design, which looks really terrible, or they just don't care, and when they sprite flip, a certain hand that should not be a hand is actually a hand. But there's that. That happened. So Under Night In-Birth, really, really good game. Quality, quality, quality. More pixels in more places. I've been working mostly this week on commissions and trying to get this weekly speed draw of mine streaming because I'm technologically illiterate. And I watched something on Crunchyroll that I really have... I'm almost speechless with it, you guys. It's called Kyoso Giga. I might be mispronouncing it, but I really don't know. And I had heard of it, and I was super, super tentative to actually try it because the animation really, really reminded me of Kill La Kill. And I was really scared. I was really scared. Female protagonist, giant weapon, she's really violent, and huge amounts of colors and just things flying in your face. But here's the thing. First of all, it's Toei animation, so they're not lying to us. If it was gonna be bad, we would have known by the moment it started. But no, it was something. It was something interesting that had no horrifically awful fan service, no implications of rape, nothing weird, and yes, I'm usually not that kind of person to say something as rape, but let's be honest with ourselves, people. Kill la Kill was straight up had rape in its first episode. It was rape. That stupid sailor suit raped our main character, and I really don't care. But it was rape, and let's just get over it and realize that that was legitimate. But Kyoso Giga, I really don't know, because I can't actually tell you what it's about, because I don't know. I watched it, and the colors and the animation and the characters were all just thrown at me, and I was really... I made a video like while I queued up the next episode, and I had to stop as soon as I finished that episode because I don't understand. I do not in any sense understand. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. It just confuses me. Is she a god? Is she the mother? Is that one priest guy the father? Or is he the son and he has an Oedipus complex like that woman said? I don't know. I don't know, you guys.
Well, I guess you've just got to keep watching. I guess you've just got to keep tuning in.
Try. I'm gonna down the brightness on my
series has
screen
already
and
wrapped
give
up.
it another shot.
That's already
I
a
believe
finished
so.
series, right? So, well, I'm going to hit add to queue.
It's very, very weird. It's
Not that I
KY.
need
It's
another
KY
show on
like
my
it's KY like Kai Kisake, OUSOU, I suppose, GIGA.
I think
I
you
don't
just
know.
have to type in KY and the show will come up on Crunchyroll.
Pretty much. It came up when I typed in something, much like when Orenchi.
You typed in JoJo. You typed in JoJo and then you found this.
I typed in JoJo and got the strange circumstances of my bathtub, and that was pretty decent. But I don't remember what I typed in monster. That's what I typed in. I typed in monster because I was looking for Monster Musume because somebody dared me to watch one episode of it.
Oh my god.
All right,
well,
I'd like to move on from the circumstances in Jack's bathtub.
Yes.
Sean, what have you been consuming?
I have been consuming more anime than normally. We've actually watched Gate, we mentioned earlier. I've heard a lot about it on the Anna Twitter and figured out what all the hype was about. And an interesting show, so you can check out a couple of episodes. You might be into it. Been marathoning Durarara.
Yes.
The dub. I love the mess out of that show. I stopped watching it after about 20 episodes because there was like a little bit of a lull after the big reveal happened. It just kind of was mulling about.
Yeah, I feel that same way
now.
about Durarara. It's like a show where I get into like a quick burst and watch a couple in a row, and then it just seems to really lag and fall apart and not know which direction it wants to go. So I have a hard time really sinking my teeth into it.
I felt that same way, but then after you get past, there's a very distinct part in the series. I guess the first season that happens, and it's the time after the... Hello?
I feel like we just got a breaking news story that I want to jump into.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
Oh
All right,
dear.
I feel like I need to call an audible because this is breaking news just coming in from ANN. But we'll wrap up after this. We'll get into the takeaway after this. Now I'm going to defer to our executive producer Sean Russell. I'm simply going to give you the title, and depending on your reaction, we can take it into the takeaway or just go from there. This is breaking news from ANN. Japanese sex toy company explores possibilities of virtual reality.
So more Asuka fleshlights.
Show of hands. People want us to go into this.
There's no way to respond to this in.
I'll leave it up to you. I'll defer to you, David.
Didn't they already
All right.
do that? Didn't they already do that
Mark?
with Oculus Rift?
Mark, thanks for joining us this week on the A3K podcast.
It's been great.
Tell us about what's happening on your end at the Mega Anime Ultra Show.
Oh, we're not gonna get to hear from you, or let Sean finish.
Apparently not.
No,
Breaking
no.
news.
No, we gave up. We gave up.
He's your
GG.
boss.
Sean, shut up. Let's go to the giveaway.
GG, R. Kelly.
Really? Do we even continue after the sex toy virtual reality thing?
Apparently not.
I think my
This game here is Japan.
Because that's how Durarara is. We get completely sidetracked by something much better, and then we go back to Durarara and finish talking about it, and don't really know
But
why.
let me just finish what I was saying, since that was something.
sure.
The point I'm trying to get is, if you were watching Durarara and you feel like there was a lull and you stop watching it, it gets, after you get past that point, I want to say, like, there's probably like 3 or 4 episodes that are like that. They're not bad episodes, but they just don't match up with the beginning of the series. It's an amazing show. Like, so far, I want to say like 6 episodes from the end of the first season, and I've literally, over this weekend, I've been watching it nonstop. And it gets better and better and better and better. So it reminds me so much of Bakuno. Like, what was good about Bakuno? Mark, have you seen Bakuno?
I have not.
If you're listening to this or watching this, like Bakuno, I feel comfortable saying that Durarara, and as a whole, is as good, if not better. It's very close. I have to see how it finishes at the end and being in my top 5. That's all I have to say. Now you can end the show or do whatever you want to.
Jack, as I said in the doc,
Yes.
I think I need a day off, so wrap it up.
I really, truly do. All right, then. Sean, thank you so much for joining us. As always, it's a pleasure to have our Lord and Master. Thank you very much, Mark. Mark, tell us what you've been doing, or where we can find you.
Oh, well, good news. I brought MegaAnimeUltraShow.com back online.
Yay!
It helps to pay the bill. Otherwise, on Twitter, it's @MousePodcast, where I've been, wasting time posting pictures of various anime, and that's never been down, shockingly. And that's basically it. Otherwise, you can find me in my own home, running after children and cleaning up after pets.
Marvelous, marvelous. I'm so glad that you're there to keep everybody's pants on when they forget if the zipper goes up or down.
So it does in fact go down, right? It goes down.
Yes, David, spread the word. Spread the word and the tines of all jean zippers everywhere. Sponsored by Levi's. Sean Russell, what's been going on with the Anime 3000 site and in your professional life, sir? I'm saluting, you can't tell.
Well, a lot of cool things are happening, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. Still putting the final touches on those things, so as soon as I'm ready to talk about them, there will be announced. There will be blood. There will be announcements. So back to you, Jack.
Excellent. David, would you like to say anything besides the fact that you do, in fact, desperately need a day to yourself, sir? I'm also saluting.
Well, it would be nice if I got one of those, but me and my infinite wisdom, I decided to come up with a brand new podcast called It's in Season over on the interwebs at anime330.com, where we are reviewing a current show from this current anime season. We did our beta episode 2 weeks ago, where we decided and debated on what show we are going to watch from this season tomorrow and coming out on Monday. The show will be...
Drumroll.
Prison School.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ho, don't do it. Oh my god.
So, go ahead, everybody. Check for the internet at DeltaJulietMike.com for the brand new It's in Season with myself, my old Super No Vacancy co-host Richard Waters, and Cody Anderson, a.k.a. Not That Cody, at DeltaJulietMike.com.
That is a really, really, really good podcast, everybody. So dial up your AOL service provider and get yourself some of that 30-minute free trial so you can go to geocities.com or whatever David actually said, because GeoCities only exists in Japan now.
Oh, wow.
But seriously.
Oh, wow.
My day job is actually a really big, responsible job, and with podcasts, I think I need a day off. I'm exhausted.
I don't know how you do it.
I agree. I don't know how he does it.
But I want to thank you all for watching and listening to the A3K podcast, or tuning in at A3K Live on YouTube at A3K TV. Or if you are watching out there at DiamondClub.tv, you all know that you have DJ M's undying love and affection from the
Thank you so much. I'm making the diamond sign.
We even got Jack doing the Diamond Club sign. We haven't got Jack doing it. Jack is Diamond Club.
It's so much fun.
That's awesome.
And speaking of Diamond Club signs, you can also find my humble self at Jack D. Tyler D on Twitter, Mechanical Symphonies on Tumblr, Jack D. Tyler D on Fiverr, doing stuff for $5. $5, people. And doing some speed draws if you are interested in tonight's speed draw, which will be at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please, 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 please talk to me on one of these social media sites, and I will post-haste send you something that you will be able to participate. And if you're not really up for it this week, I'll be doing it every single Saturday. Thank you.
Ooh.
And as always, everyone, you
Tonight
can
we're drawing
download
Brandon
the podcast.
Castle or somebody who kind of looks like him. Uh-oh.
The interrupting quote says what?
It went so smoothly.
If looks could kill, you would be an Uzi.
David's getting too old for this shit. Thank you, King and Price. I'm too old for this.
Serious face.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and Stitcher Radio, or wherever else there is an RSS feed to subscribe to, and download it for free at anime3000.com. If you like what you see from the A3K network, please check out the Patreon page at patreon.com/anime3000. Any donation of any amount is greatly, truly appreciated. For Sean Russell, for Count Jack Noir, and Mark from the Mega Anime Ultra Show, thank you all for listening and tuning in, and we will talk to you on the interwebs next time.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, as always. It's tradition at this point. It's just tradition. I'm so sorry, David. Are you okay? Do I need to call somebody?
This is where David flips the table.
That's a very professional show.
My goodness, we are so professional, it hurts.
This is where he yanks the headphones out.
I love the 6 o'clock starting time, though. That's
We
thumbs up for that.
I genuinely love the 6 o'clock starting time, but it was hard to get other people from the network.
we have not
So,
had code.
I understand.
It's still in flux. So, internet, as always, thank you so much for watching. The podcast will be in audio form first thing Monday morning.
Send your
Everybody
handwritten apologies to at DJM on Twitter. At just call me DJM. Do it. Oh my gosh.
Or you can send them to alphajulietmike.com.
Yes, the mysterious domain that didn't work when I typed it in and then went, wait.
Good night,
Oh
everybody.
my goodness. Oh my goodness.